Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Ermenkov. Today is 13th of February, 2023, and I'm continuing my series, Daily Reality with Alex. I would like to inform some of you that don't know, but I'm going to do this type of series till the end of 2023. So there is much more to talk about in Reality Talks with Alex, and I would like to start a conversation today. And the beautiful things about all the conversations that I'm starting and all the talks that I'm talking about is that I can do these talks all my life because the exploration of everything that I'm speaking about is something that is continuing all the time, of course, in my head, but also as exploration. And I am a ruling reality coach. And as a ruling reality coach, I'm very much interested in everything regarding reality. And one of the big questions of reality is where actually reality happens. And it is a very interesting question. And it is something that we are to learn how to work with, because in the 5 data sense reality that we are experiencing, two things are very important. One of the things is called space, and the other thing is called time. Without time and space, it's not possible for us, the human being, to have a perception of reality, at least in the 5D senses experience of the physical matter reality. And because in the physical matter reality, places are very important, let me start my today's reflections with the places in reality and what are we to do with all these places. So first of all, let me start with the first and one of the most important places with which we are connected in reality, and this is the place at which we are born. Each of us, the human beings, all over the world, we have a birthplace. Why it's important, why there is a connection there, why this place is connected to all of us, and all of us are born in different places. Why this is important, long term, we are to explore this subject, but now from the perspective of ruling our reality, it's important to know the places which are important for each one of us. A lot of people are going through life, and later on, they're giving a lot of everything they have done during their lives for their birthplace. And we have a saying in my country, and maybe in many countries, there is such saying that anyhow, whatever happens with the human being, in the end, it is, in a sense, connected with its birthplace. Then, of course, because we are now not speaking about time and the year at which we are born is important and so on, but if we now exclude time and speak only about places, we are to define which places are important for us. Of course, maybe the second most important place after the place of birth, because in the past, more of the people were living in the place they are born for all of their lives, but now it's not like this. For example, I'm born in a city, I'm not living now there, it is in the same country, so I'm continuing to live primarily in the same country where I'm born, but not at the same place. More and more people today are not even living in the countries where is their birthplace. But let's continue further with our reflection of why places are important in reality. And then we are going to go about sacred places and why some places are energetically more important than the others, and why there is so much tension on some places than other places. For example, some places are very significant for all humanity, while other places are not so significant, and whatever happens with these specific places in the physical matter reality, it's not so important. Why this is so, we can ask, since we are not beings that are to be so logically connected to a specific place. Why these specific places have such a meaning, or even if they don't have a meaning, we put a big meaning upon these specific places. For example, now the well-known places around the world are the so-called big cities, and this is where the energy is, this is where the flow is, this is where the vibrant move of all humanity is going through. And these are the so-called big places like New York, Tokyo, Beijing, Mumbai, Delhi, Moscow, London, Paris, and Los Angeles, and some places in South America, and some places in Australia, and some places in Africa. But mainly, there are cluster places in the moment all over the world where all the human beings are or attracted to them or are, in a sense, connected in one or another way with them. For example, for us, the Europeans, a big place is Brussels. Not because we are so connected with this city, not because almost every European comes from this city or have relatives in this city, because this is the city which is governing all the European states, which are more than 28, and it has a specific meaning, which is not so much connected to something physical between the beings in this area and the specific place. And of course, if we speak about, all of us, if we think which is the most controversial place on the planet of the Earth today, which is connected with our reality, maybe 1 to 2/3 of humanity can say, well, Alex, maybe one of the most controversial places on the planet Earth in the moment is Jerusalem. Why Jerusalem? It is, of course, an old city, but in the past we had other old cities like Babylon, which is not so important place today. And we had also a lot of other ancient cities. And is this the most ancient cities? And what is going to happen if something happened in this specific place with humanity? Why this specific place is so charged? Of course, because of the lot of myths and a lot of stories from the ancient books that were speaking about this city, and that if in the future something happens with the transformation of reality, and again the God is appearing on the face of the 5D reality, 5 data sense reality in which we are, it is going to happen through Jerusalem. And because of this, all the Jewish people, all the so-called Christian people are very strongly focused and have created a big tension towards this specific city. We can say, well, it is almost the same as what the Muslims has done with their specific city of Mecca. If in the moment some part of humanity is trying to do something on Mecca, it is going to become more than Third World War for sure, because this is a specific place which is very sacred, and it is put a lot of tension. There is a lot of energy, a lot of attraction towards this place. So there are specific places on this planet which are important for all of the reality. And also there are nations which are important for all of the reality, for all the future of humanity, for all the past of humanity. And of course, from time to time, the names of the nations are changing, but still there are several leading nations that all the time are governing the world. Will the nations that are going to govern all the future of our reality the same as they were years ago, or in the future maybe they're going to be with different names, or as in 1948 we're going to have just the East and the West governing nations of bodies which are going to be 100% and constantly in conflict with each other. But when the specific places became important for the human race and why we are so connected with specific places. And in the physical matter reality, places matters because for some reason, energies are flowing through a specific places in the human physical matter reality. So is it the humans that are putting special importance, or were the places with special importance before this? I cannot answer this question, but more important for all of us is to know that places matter in the physical matter reality. Because as it is above, so it is below. So places matter also in the non-physical matter reality. And then we are to understand what is our connection towards places, because we are to answer a big question for ourselves. And this question is called, where do we dwell and where do we visit? There is a very interesting thing about the human being that it doesn't matter how much we have been on the face of this planet and how much each of us have been alive. Yes, we are in a sense connected to our birthplace, but also all of us are connected to the above, even if we don't know what is this above. And we can state in a sense that all of us are connected to the other place. So in the place of the human physical matter reality realm, are we just visiting and are we dwelling in the above? Or is it the opposite? We are dwelling here and we are just trying to visit the above just in order to understand what is out there. It is an important thing because it's going to answer the big question regarding the direction of where are we going towards. Because if we think that we are just staying, if we think that we are the one that are choosing the direction, if we think that we are not just allowing to flow and to be in a state of flow, but any flow has a direction, and all the reality stream has also a direction, and the direction is already chosen for us. We can only follow the directions that are already established in the way reality is working. And from the perspective of ruling of our reality, we, the human beings, are to know one thing. From all the places in the physical matter reality, we can do only one thing, and this is visiting. The first place we visited was our birthplace. Every other place where we are dwelling from time to time, it is actually places we are visiting for some time. But our dwelling place is always the above, always the invisible, always the unseen, because this is where our long-term destination is. So once we answering our questions regarding our places in reality, it is good to never forget that we are destined for the above. So when we go to places, we can go in the mental realm where there are also places we can enjoy visiting, but it is very important to know that we are not dwelling in these places. I can visit my different mental states, but I'm not dwelling in my mind. My mindfulness is good, but since I am from the above, I'm just dwelling in my mind in order to compute and to accept and to acquire data from the 5 data senses, only to know how to position myself for my next moves into the physical matter reality. But long term, I'm not dwelling in my mind realm. If we all think that we are the mind and that we are our thoughts, and that we are going to dwell in the construct of the thoughtful experiences that we think that are what is out there, and we can create our mindful perspectives and imaginations about what reality is, we can dwell in these illusions. But it is better to call them that we are just visiting these places, because more and more we are moving through the reality, we are just constantly saying to us, okay, this is another place which I will never call that I'm dwelling in, but I'm just being visiting it for 5 years, for 3 years, for 10 years, for 15 years. We can be visiting places even for 50 years. But the beautiful thing is that we can know that we are dwelling somewhere else. And when are we able to connect with our dwelling place? And where is our dwelling place? And when we say above, it doesn't mean just simply a physical place above the place which we are dwelling in, because the above can mean also inside of us, deep inside of us. The dwelling place is in all the different directions towards which the unknown is. And because for the human being, the most normal place for the unknown is the above, because when we look to the skies, we see the stars and we know that we don't know what is out there. So this is for us the above, and this is an allegory for us to say this is the unknown. But maybe if we look towards the inside of us and we see the limitless world that is in us, in each of us, then we are going to see also the so-called above or the so-called beyond. So the beyond is up, the beyond is seen, the beyond is true, and in all the directions we are entering the beyond, and the beyond is where our dwelling place is actually in. And when we are perceiving, when we are working, when we are decoding, when we are conditioning, when we are mindful, when we are present, we are just visiting. We are not dwelling. And that's why it's not possible for us through the physical matter reality to feel the beyond being present, the so-called home, where we are, where we will be, and from where we are. Because this is the beyond. Once we know that this beyond is what is our essence, then in the world of causality, the world of forms and effects, because both of this world, the inner and the outer world, the causality and the effect worlds, are still not the beyond. The beyond is our home, and through the physical matter reality, we are just experiencing visitation of different places and different realms. Is it okay for us to live in the physical matter reality as though it is not our home? For sure, because the big problem for all of us is that we even don't know what exactly is our home. We only know that this is our long-term destination. But for me, the important thing today is when we are speaking about the physical matter reality is to know that we are just visiting the physical matter reality. We are not dwelling into it. The big delusion happens because we are visiting some places for quite long. There are places in our physical and more to say our soul realm where we are thinking that if we are staying more and more and we are in this type of presence, this is where we dwell, and it can happen very strongly, sometimes with meditation or with prayer or with the different practices that we start to say, well, I like only these realms and this is where I'm destined for, and this is type of experiences I want, and everything else is just not worth living for. But the truth is that neither these special moments, neither the everything else of reality is the so-called sacred or the so-called special places, because in all these realms we are just visiting. But how is it possible then to experience the dwelling? This is, according to me, a very interesting moment, because through the awareness, through the consciousness, we are just grasping that we are totally 100% able to exclude and to distinguish that everything that we are experiencing with the 5 data senses is not our dwelling place. And of course, it gives us some reflection to what home is. It helps us because it gives us some feeling, it gives us some states, it gives us some warmth, it gives us desires, hopes, and a lot of other deep notions about what home is. But home is not now. Home was, now home is indirectly felt through the 5 data senses, because we can deduct that as it is below, so it is above. So we are constantly now regretting and searching for and trying to, in a sense, taste what home is, but in reality, we are not able now to stay in the state where we and home are 100% connected. And is it good or bad? It's not a relevant question, because reality has created in us, in the moment, this separateness between us and home, between us and our dwelling place, so that once we are again connected fully and thoroughly, be sure all of us are going to enjoy the home that we are destined towards. And then, of course, there is a little bit of a fear in all of us from the beyond and from the unknown, because from the ancient texts we know that there are approximately at least 2 destinations for us as human beings, and we don't know which is our home, because some of us think that home is heaven, and some of us are afraid that maybe home is the so-called hell or everything negative. So are we going to go, and are we destined to be in positive experience of the so-called home, or is for us the so-called long-term dwelling place going to be 100% negative long-term experience? So this type of tension is creating in us the fear of death, the fear of discontinuing this so-called dream of reality, and we are constantly experiencing, we are hungry and thirsty for more and more experience, for more and more awareness, for more and more revelation, for more and more knowledge, in order usually to avoid the end thing that we are going to experience, because we are never sure of what exactly is our home and where exactly is our home. And are we, of course, a lot of us are asking this question, are we worthy to dwell in our homes? And of course, for all of us, the answer is inside of us, because inside of each of us, we are a limitless being that is destined to have a dwelling which is worthy for a limitless being that is able to express everything which is beneficial for the wholeness and beneficial for the all. And that's why when we are looking at each other, when we are collaborating with each other, it's better to have much more compassion, because in a sense, all of us are here to help and support each other, because long term, all of us are destined to be in our real home. And now all of us are just going through this reality, and 99% of us don't know exactly what is happening. It doesn't matter how eloquent are some of us, how much we think that we are leaders, that we are able to teach, that we know all the secrets. It is impossible to know, because this is reality, is to be experienced without knowing, to move forward without seeing the direction. So constantly, daily, when we are opening our eyes, we are asking ourselves the question, what do I see today? What do I want? What is my direction? And so on and so on. And it happens day by day. But the beautiful thing is that there is some time of a confidence deep inside of us that is able to connect us to the above, that is able to give us access to everything that is possible and available for all of us, so that we can feel the confidence that home is waiting for all of us. And this is very little of what is for all of us to explore long-term regarding the places, because places is something that can be experienced only in these five senses, physical materiality, where we have the space and the time. So enjoy your reality, enjoy places, and never forget, home is waiting for all of us. Bye-bye.